Hello, and welcome to Let's Talk Money. My name is Natasha Bridgemohan, your host today, and I'm happy to have my guest here, Anthony Maniaci, one of Ontario's top real estate lawyers, to discuss about real estate. Well, Canada, we're going to talk about educating you today how to earn, save, and make money. Anthony, welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here.
Great. I'm excited to have you here too. Well, let's talk a little bit about who you are and what you do for Ontarians in Canada in respect to real estate.
Well, as mentioned, I'm a real estate lawyer. I've been practicing now for almost 13 years in the province of Ontario. As real estate lawyers, as lawyers in general, you have to be licensed to practice in each province, so I practice here in Ontario. I do corporate commercial work, wills and estates work, because I find that they're all sort of corollaries to each other. But real estate is my passion, and over the last 13 years, given the market and how robust things have been here in this market, it's been a really fun time to be part of it.
Awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk about educating you, as I mentioned earlier, how to earn and make money in real estate. So, Anthony, as a corporate real estate lawyer, I guess one of your responsibilities is to protect Canadians when purchasing a home. Is that correct?
Sure, absolutely. It's like anything else. That whenever you buy anything, due diligence is a very, very important piece. And I've always told my clients over the years the most important thing is to educate yourself before you get into any sort of situation, signing into an agreement. Because once you've signed and that deal goes firm, you are responsible for the ramifications of anything that might happen if things go sideways.
So let's take it simple here for Canadians to educate them today about the importance of real estate. Not only can you make money in real estate, it can also be part of your retirement portfolio, the equity in the home that you built. Is that correct?
Absolutely, absolutely.
So before even purchasing a home, getting into finalizing the real estate transaction, what can Canadians do in order to prep themselves and working closely with a lawyer like yourself? What can they do?
Well, the most important thing is to get your team in place. To have those professionals, whether it be the mortgage broker, the real estate agent, your lawyer, your accountant, you got to have all of those people ready to go, and you got to lean on them for advice. So the first step is to really get in there and educate yourself, maybe have a preliminary meeting with your lawyer, with the real estate agent. And then the next thing and most important thing, and I stress this to all of you out there, is figure out what your goals are. And that's a very broad comment. It could be all kinds of things, but not only from if I'm going to buy this house, what my intentions are, but things like how long am I going to stay in that house? And as we get in, I'll explain why that becomes so important. But first and foremost, you have to figure out where you want to be. Do school zones matter? What schools in the neighborhood? The ability to walk, to go shopping, does that matter? The vicinity of community centers, as well as your own community and your comfort level, all become very, very important and should form the cornerstone of your foundation when you start down the process of looking for a place to buy.
That's actually pretty interesting. So walk me through this. I'm a first-time home buyer, and I've done everything that you've told me to do. I've got a mortgage broker, I've got my team of experts, got my real estate agent. Now I'm putting in an offer. So if I'm putting in an offer, what are some of the contingencies that I would have to put in the offer?
Well, the most important thing when you sit down with your real estate agent to put the agreement of purchase and sale together is to figure out, like you said, what conditions do I need to have in here to ensure that I've covered all my bases. So the two that jump out right off of the bat are financing. Make sure that any agreement of purchase and sale that you present to a vendor has that condition for 5 to 10 days to ensure that you can get your financing in place. Because just because a mortgage agent says to you, you have a pre-qualification, that doesn't mean anything. You need to be fully qualified and accepted by the lending institution to ensure that there's no problems. And then the second condition that becomes vitally important is the inspection, right? I mean, you're going in there, the old caveat emptor in Latin, or buyer beware, comes in. So the most important thing is you get a qualified, registered home inspector in that house to do a full inspection, even if it takes 4 to 5 hours, to ensure that this asset that you're looking to purchase is what you expect it to be.
Well, listen, we're Canadians are all about making money in real estate. Real estate is a sound investment. Would you agree?
It absolutely can be, yeah.
And so, in offers, I'm sure I see some offers as, being in finance, some of the conditions that I see is subject to lawyer's approval. Why don't you educate the viewers? What does that really mean? How does that protect them?
The lawyer's approval and where we come in is what we call title. What happens is when you buy a house, you're going to end up taking title to the home or taking the deed. And so as a lawyer, we'll get in there and do the background searches to ensure that the property doesn't have any easements that are going to affect your ability, say, to build on the property, along with what mortgages are there. Are there any liens? Is there any other problems with the property that we need to be aware of?
Absolutely. Well, in closing, before we go to commercial, why don't you tell us why Anthony Maniaci? Top 3 reasons. What makes you different, I should say, actually, from the rest of the lawyers?
I don't think I need 3. I'll give you 1. It's all about service. For all of you out there, service is everything. Okay, you can nickel and dime when it comes to the fees, and I find it always interesting that clients, the first thing they do is they try and barter when it comes to the legal fees or even the real estate commission. Meanwhile, they're paying $500,000 to $600,000 to $700,000 for a home. And so what is the cost of ensuring that you're getting the appropriate service? And that's what I really want to drive home. Don't nickel and dime this process. This is a process where your castle, your home, needs to be protected. And so you need to have somebody who's in your corner all the way. So for me, I'm all about service and I'm all about being there for the clients. I don't do litigation, so I'm always in the office. And I'm accessible, whether it be by email or by phone, to ensure that the problems and issues that arise can be dealt with. I mean, as first-time homebuyers, just going back to the comment before, they get very nervous. It's the first time they've been through it. So it's very important for me to ensure that they have the comfort that they know every step of the way somebody's holding their hand.
Well, thank you. That's well said. Viewers will be returning soon. Stay tuned right after commercial.
This is Poppy, and this is her friend Matt. Poppy and Matt are happy entrepreneurs. Poppy's business is booming, and she now wants to buy her first home. Matt's bistro is also doing very well. He's got his eye on a condo around the corner. Poppy and Matt each head off to their bank. Unfortunately, they both hit what we like to call the self-employed mortgage wall. Poppy and Matt realize they need some professional advice, so they go to their friendly neighborhood mortgage intelligence broker. Turns out, there's a way around their mortgage wall. Their brokers give them 5 important tips. Use tax returns, notices of assessment, and financial statements to demonstrate your earnings. Document your assets, liabilities, and expenses. Your lender wants to understand your business. A professional online presence helps. Have a good credit rating. The bigger the down payment, the better. And use a mortgage broker. A broker has access to lenders that specialize in self-employed mortgages and can anticipate the challenges you might face. Poppy and Matt were impressed. They're used to working with professionals, so it makes sense to do the same with their mortgage. And now, they're happy homeowners. Don't hit the self-employed mortgage wall. Get mortgage intelligence working for you.
Welcome back with Let's Talk Money with Natasha. We're here with Anthony Maniaci, real estate lawyer in Ontario. Again, thank you again for being here. We'll continue our topic, viewers. It's all about educating you today about how to earn, save, and make money. And today we're going to talk about the real estate market and using a really great corporate lawyer, real estate lawyer actually, to help protect you in terms of your biggest investment in your life, which will be, buying a home. I think you would agree with that, right?
100%.
So we were talking about first-time home buyers right before commercial. Let's continue and let's talk about a little bit about the refinancing in terms of, the value of refinancing and why people refinance in terms of real estate and what you can do in terms of protecting them, a little bit about maybe the insurance strategies in terms of title insurance and all of that.
When you're buying a house, you get your mortgage, and Then your mortgage comes due and it's time to refinance that mortgage and either get into another product. The first thing and most important thing, again, I stress to all of you out there, is to figure out what your goals are. Because nowadays, in the world of mortgages, there are tons of products out there across the board that suit various different needs, from home lines of credit to variable rate mortgages, fixed rate mortgages, the amortization periods, and so forth. There's all kinds of things that matter. So, first off, am I buying this house for myself, or is it being rented? Do I need the equity in this house because I'm going to take it and purchase another property for investment purposes? How does that affect things? Do I need to speak to my accountant about that? All these things come into play. So I really stress to all of you out there that your goals have to be well defined when you go into this process. Because if you'd only plan to say, for example, stay in your house for 2 years, locking yourself into a 5-year closed mortgage is not the way to go. So you really need to sit down and assess these things. And I find it very troublesome when I sit down with my clients who have gotten themselves into these things, and you start discussing with them, and they've never even thought about these sorts of ideas.
That's actually very correct. So, let's just speak in very simple terms there. When a client gets a mortgage through their bank or through their mortgage broker, and they're arranging the financing, you'll get something called a solicitor's instructions, right? And that's, I guess, coming from the lender, correct to say? Absolutely. So some of these, instructions coming from the lender, the clients would have to fulfill. Is that correct?
There's all kinds of conditions in there. When you're borrowing money, whether it be an institution or a private lender, they're always going to have their own conditions that you have to meet as a borrower, to ensure that their comfort level with the deal. So it could be things from paying off car loans, paying off closing credit cards. Again, it's all in your best interest to ensure that you're able to facilitate the monthly payments to the lender who's lent such a sizable amount on your property.
That's pretty good. And what also, when meeting with the client face-to-face, Anthony, why don't you just maybe educate our viewers today some of the things that you do to make sure that the contract that they're signing with the bank, it's in their best interest?
Well, sure. It's always about asking the questions, and trying to dig a little bit deeper than just saying, here's the paper, this is what's on the paper, do you recognize it? Is this what it's supposed to be? It's again getting into trying to dig to ensure, like, this is a closed mortgage for 5 years. Is this what you want? Versus this is a variable rate. Do you understand the consequences of a variable rate, how they work, how it works with the bank's prime rate and so forth, so that to make sure that they understand what it is they're getting themselves into. Because like I said, across the pantheon of lenders out there, there's all kinds of different products. There's all kinds of different terms in there. And you need to understand, are there prepayment privileges? Are you able to pay down more than just your monthly payment? If so, to what percentage? Does that work for you? Amortization, do you want your mortgage amortized over 20, 25, 30 years? All those sorts of things, and how that affects things. One thing I tell my clients all the time, and it's just a little trick. If you can pay your mortgage bi-weekly, that is, not paid on a monthly basis, but every 2 weeks, you actually pay a heck of a lot more principal down over the period of the mortgage, to the tune that your amortization, say on a 25-year amortization, goes from 25 years to 17 and a half. That's 7.5 years taken off your mortgage for doing nothing other than just splitting your payments in two and paying them every 2 weeks. So it's little things like that
Well said.
you can get in there and really understand. But again, the client has to be comfortable. The client has to understand that this is a relationship that we have, that I'm here to protect you. I'm here to make sure that you understand what you're getting yourself into. But you've got to be forthcoming and honest as well.
And I agree. And ladies and gentlemen, using a really great, sound, educated lawyer like yourself it's very, very important, because you are the last piece of the puzzle.
Right. Yeah.
You close that transaction and you finalize that deal. So that's very important.
And it's my job to make sure everything fits in a nice place, that the way that your title looks, it all is supposed to be. There's no outstanding issues on the property that would otherwise affect your ability to enjoy it.
So, we got about 2 minutes left, and I want to really make this a really good last 2 minutes for the audience. Why don't you tell us today, Anthony, as a person who is looking to buy a home or already has a home, some of the key real estate law that they have to be aware of in terms of protecting their interests?
Sure. So first off, whether you're building or not, you should always be aware of any easements. And what easements are, they're rights on your property that other entities, individuals, companies, etc., might have to either enter the property to do things like, say, fix a gas meter and so forth, versus laying pipes and So, it becomes vitally important. I had a client once who, had a creek running through his property, and as a result, he was only allowed to build on certain sections of the property. And had he not known that before, it would have made things difficult. So the most important thing, sit down with your lawyer, understand the property and the nature of it and what you're getting yourself into.
Well, Anthony, thank you so much for coming out here today in our show. I really appreciate it, and I hope the viewers learned a lot today about your services. If you ever need to get a hold of Anthony, his information is on the screen. He is available throughout the week, and he has amazing hours, and he's very easy to connect with. And again, look forward to having you on sooner than later, okay? Thank you very much, Anthony.
Say hi to Raj and Leah, Luke and Megan. Raj and Leah are busy parents. And, well, so are Luke and Megan. Last week, these two families got a mortgage renewal letter from their bank. Luke and Megan simply signed back the bank's renewal letter. They didn't realize the rates offered were not the best available. Raj and Leah thought the bank's rate was high and wanted a second opinion. So they went to see their friendly neighborhood mortgage intelligence broker. Their broker explained that many homeowners sleepwalk through their mortgage renewal and take what's offered, even though it's free to switch for a better rate, term, or mortgage feature. Out of the dozens of lenders and hundreds of options, their broker found a mortgage with a great rate and great features, like ways to pay it off faster and with much lower penalties if they need to get out of their mortgage early. Raj and Leah learned that mortgage renewal is a great opportunity to save money. Luke and Megan are now sadly paying more for their mortgage. Don't sleepwalk through your mortgage renewal. Get mortgage intelligence working for you.
Welcome back to Let's Talk with Money with Natasha. We're here with Vic Ramprasad from GCY Law Firm in Toronto, Ontario. Is that correct?
That's correct, Natasha.
Awesome. Thank you for being here today with us, Vic.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be here with you this morning to give out some information on legal matters to our community.
Awesome. Great. So, Vic, why don't you tell us a little bit about, what you do in the law world?
Okay, I'm a barrister and solicitor in Ontario. I work for a firm, Gassy, Cohen & Youngman, that specializes in real estate law, corporate law, estate planning, and litigation as well. So we have a wide variety of legal services that we offer to the public.
Interesting. Very good. I'm very excited to learn a little bit more about your services here today. So we had Anthony on a little bit earlier. I'm sure you heard Anthony, and we were talking about real estate.
That's correct.
And what I want to do, sorry, my apologies, I want to continue to talk about the real estate topic before we go into maybe will and corporate, and a little bit about litigation in terms of protecting Canadians. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, it's all about how to earn, save, and make money in real estate, correct?
That's right.
So going back to real estate, we ended off the topic with Anthony about title preparation and security and things to look out for in purchasing a home.
Right.
And you do a little bit of you do specialize also in real estate transactions, right?
That's correct. Our firm does real estate.
Okay. And what kind of real estate services do you guys?
Well, we do the typical refinancing. We'll do the purchase and sale, that type of thing. So we deal with a lot of real estate agents and brokers as yourself as well too, in terms of getting the job done for the client.
Awesome. So when we're talking about protecting the client and we're talking about solicitors instructions, we didn't really actually touch on identity theft. That's right. That's a big thing right now happening in Canada.
That's right.
And why don't you talk a little bit about title and title insurance and how Canadians can protect themselves and how you are able to help protect Canadians?
Well, in the past, the lawyer would do the title search and go back 40 years and do the search to ensure that there's proper title on the property to be transferred to a purchaser. In the past, I would say 10, 15 years, they've developed title insurance. There's certain companies that offer that to the public. And what that does is protects a purchaser on the title on the property, ensure that there's good title. It also protects against title fraud for in case if somebody uses somebody else's identity, puts a new mortgage on their home, gets the mortgage funds and takes off. So it protects against that type of thing. It also protects against encroachments on the property. It protects against, any issues with title basically on a property.
So let's make this very, very, very simple for our viewers here today. So I'm a homeowner.
That's right.
So if I don't have a mortgage on my home, then I would have a title that's considered.
You would have if you don't have a mortgage on your home, you would likely have a lot of equity available on your home, and a lot of mortgagees or financing companies would see that and say, okay, here's a home without a mortgage, there's equity there, we're willing to lend you these funds. Somebody could come along and technically steal your identity and apply for this mortgage and have that mortgage placed on the property. Next thing you know, they get the funds, and next thing you know, the actual owner of the property is stuck because
Interesting.
they're on the line to pay back that mortgage.
So let's go back a little bit. If I have a home and I don't have a mortgage, then my title is free and clear from any liens and encumbrances. So you're saying someone can actually pretend to be me, get a mortgage, and refinance my home?
That's correct, if they have the right identity.
So how can you protect us?
Well, again, if you have title insurance, that will protect you on that. So, whether you got title insurance when you bought your property, that's the best way. But even if you don't have title insurance when you bought your property, you can still purchase title insurance to protect against that.
Because I think you mentioned that title insurance is pretty new. It's only 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, I may be mistaken, but I believe it's 10 to 15 years.
So someone who's had a home that's free and clear for over 15, 20 years,
right.
they should be purchasing title insurance, wouldn't
That's
you say?
exactly right. I would recommend title insurance to everybody who owns their own property in Ontario.
Okay, and the insurance policies that you guys provide through your office are very sound and safe policies?
Yes, because we use one of 2 or 3 companies that provide title insurance. And the title insurance, it's a one-time premium that's based on the price or the value of your property.
Awesome. Definitely, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to want to call this gentleman to make sure that your home is protected with title insurance. We'll have his name and number and his detailed contact information on the screen coming up shortly. Let's step away from title insurance and let's talk a little bit about home purchases and making sure that you're not buying a home with debt from the other home buyers, such as utilities or condo fees. What are some of these troubles that can arise, and how can you, as a real estate lawyer, reverse these troubles or eliminate them or reduce them for home buyers?
Well, first and foremost, it starts with the agreement of purchase and sale. And I would recommend to everybody out there who's thinking about buying a property, have your lawyer review the agreement of purchase and sale. I know a lot of people just rely on their real estate agents, but there's a lot of clauses in there that you need to be aware of. You need to protect yourself in terms of what type of conditions you want in there, what warranties you want in the agreement of purchase and sale. You have to thoroughly list what chattels and fixtures and things like that would be included in the purchase, so you know what you're getting basically. Once that's signed off, then it comes to the lawyer acting on your behalf, and then we would go about doing the required searches, the due diligence to ensure that you have proper title, as I mentioned before, and to ensure that there's no other liens, taxes that are outstanding, utilities that are outstanding. Any type of debts that are outstanding. They may be executions against the vendor of the property that you would take on if that's not taken care of. So
you're telling me only a lawyer can do that to protect us? Do a title search?
That type of information is open to the public, but it's easier if a lawyer does it because they have access online.
And they're representing you in your best interest.
That's correct.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to go to commercial. We'll return shortly, Vic. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
This is Poppy, and this is her friend Matt. Poppy and Matt are happy entrepreneurs. Poppy's business is booming, and she now wants to buy her first home. Matt's Bistro is also doing very well. He's got his eye on a condo around the corner. Poppy and Matt each head off to their bank. Unfortunately, they both hit what we like to call the self-employed mortgage wall. Poppy and Matt realize they need some professional advice, so they go to their friendly neighborhood mortgage intelligence broker. Turns out, there's a way around their mortgage wall. Their brokers give them 5 important tips. Use tax returns, notices of assessment, and financial statements to demonstrate your earnings. Document your assets, liabilities, and expenses. Your lender wants to understand your business. A professional online presence helps. Have a good credit rating. The bigger the down payment, the better. And use a mortgage broker. A broker has access to lenders that specialize in self-employed mortgages and can anticipate the challenges you might face. Poppy and Matt were impressed. They're used to working with professionals, so it makes sense to do the same with their mortgage. And now, they're happy homeowners. Don't hit the self-employed mortgage wall. Get mortgage intelligence working for you.
Welcome back to Let's Talk Money with Natasha. We're here with Vic Rampersad from GCY Law Firm. Vic, thank you again for being here. Before we continue talking about some other topics in real estate, I want to end with you maybe just telling the viewers, why it's important to have a sound, valued lawyer, representing them, I should say, in all of their real estate transactions.
Sure. Well, it's very important to have the right lawyer acting on your behalf in any real estate transaction. There's things that come up in any real estate deal that make a deal go sideways. When you have the right lawyer, and our firm also has litigation lawyers as well too that can assist in this area. If there's an issue with closing, there needs to be an extension, we can negotiate on your behalf to ensure that you can get that extension at the lowest cost to you. Another thing is if a deal does not close for any reason, the right lawyer can tender the documents onto the other side and to show that they have all the documents ready to close. And then if the other side can't close, then you have the option of litigating in the future to secure any damages that you may face because of that deal not closing. So our firm can cover you in that aspect as well too, because we do have the real estate side and we do have the litigation side of the firm as well too. So it's a one-stop shop from beginning to end on real estate. It's great if the deal closes and everything. 98% of the time, there's no issues, but that 1 or 2% of the time when there are issues, you need the right lawyer there acting on your behalf as well to ensure those things are taken care of.
Awesome. Thank you. That's well said. One thing that I want to educate our viewers today, especially about, preserving their equity and their wealth. There comes a time when a homeowner, no longer has a mortgage. So they're sitting on a lot of equity. And so you also specialize in will preparation, is that correct?
That's correct. We do also.
Now, a lot of Canadians, go and purchase, those instant will kits at, those, stores, the retail stores
That's
that have the software and it's really easy. They say to do it, but I personally have a lawyer prepare my family will. Now, why don't you talk to our viewers today and educate them why it's important to have a will and what the repercussions are with the homeowner who dies and leaves their, the loved ones with real estate value.
Okay. If you, your will is going to be a very important document that you draft. It's very important that you draft it properly. A lot of these will packages that you buy over the counter, they're very basic. They won't explain a lot of the things. An estate lawyer will explain to you the different clauses, what's required. And another thing is the wills lawyer can give a testament to your capacity when you wrote that will. Now, that could cause a problem in the future if somebody tries to challenge your will, saying you didn't know what you were doing. Myself as a lawyer would take notes saying, Natasha understood what she was doing. She was of good mind. Nobody, influenced her or forced her to leave these type of gifts in her will as she did.
So it's a protection tool. It's written in black and white, pen and paper.
That's correct. There's things that you may not even think about that a good estate lawyer would be able to assist you on. For example, you may have an executor in mind. But what if that executor can't act on your behalf? You should be putting a secondary executor.
Interesting.
Same thing with beneficiaries. Are there secondary beneficiaries? Who are the people that are signing or witnessing your will? You need 2 witnesses on your will, and these people can't be a beneficiary or an executor to that will.
So, let me stop you right there, Vic. Educate us. Educate the viewers about this word that always gets thrown around when it comes to, estate planning. Probate.
That's right.
In layman terms, what does that mean?
Probate is a court process whereby you make an application to the state's court to have the court validate your will so that your trustee has the power by law to act on all the instructions in the will. Now, if the will is being challenged, you need to have your will probated. If there's a lot of estate assets, you should have your will probated.
And what would you say to a viewer? What would happen if we don't have a will?
Well, then it will follow the laws of intestacy in Ontario. So, for example, it would be split. Your assets will be split amongst your spouse and your children in accordance to the laws of intestacy of Ontario. So there's
interesting, very interesting.
There's distinct guidelines in Ontario for that.
And your firm could offer these specialty services
That's correct.
To anyone who's interested in using. Awesome. And one thing that I really admire about your firm is that you guys do on the road calls too as well to places of business to help clients, busy clients who are not flexible with their time, unfortunately, due to time restraints. You do that too as well, right?
That's correct. Well, I mean, our office is downtown Toronto, and we recognize that it's not easily accessible to a lot of people in the suburbs, whether you're in the West End or the East End or you're North. And as Anthony mentioned earlier, this is a service-based industry. You have to go to meet your clients' needs. So I'm willing to meet clients after hours, on weekends, whatever.
On weekends, wow, that's very good.
If necessary,
minus Sundays.
and especially things like wills. You have a lot of elderly people who want to have their will done. It's pretty cold out these days to have them come to their home. So I've gone to people's homes to have their wills signed. The only thing is, if we do a will, there's always that requirement of having two unbiased witnesses there as well too. So we'd have to make arrangements for that.
Well, you know what? I know you've taught me a lot, and I hope you've taught the viewers a lot. And again, it's all about educating our viewers how to earn, save and make money. And I'm very honored to have you on our show here today. Thank you so much, and I hope you'll be welcome to come back.
For sure.
And for our viewers, this is our first show here with Let's Make Money with Natasha. I hope you'll be able to tune in sooner than later in our next show and spread the word about how important it is to educate yourself and surround yourself with really good subject matter experts like Vic and Anthony that we've had here today. Have a great day, and thank you for joining us, and see you soon.
Thank you.